originally wanted to write about the circus, I think, because I thought that it was going to be a much closer relation to theater. And it turns out that they are not related. They are more like second cousins twice removed who live next door to each other. And so I kind of put myself in this position of learning a new sort of spectacle or a new sort of performance-based art. The book did not start in 1926. It originally was going to be a space opera. It was going to be more science fiction-y, and the sparks were going to be something that was inserted, not so much like given or magic. And that wasn't working. And around the time that I was really struggling with what the hell this thing was, I went to go see Peter Jackson's They Shall Not Grow Old, which is a really great documentary where he takes footage of mostly the Battle of the Somme, and he talks about World War I and the British boys who went over there, and he like slows down the footage, or like he changes the scope of the footage and colorizes it and puts sound to it so it looks like it could have been taken on a cell phone camera like yesterday. And it really hit me how much the world changed during the Great War, how a lot of these kids had never seen this amount of technology and this amount of carnage. And that there was this scene where you see like a French meadow and it's beautiful except for the part where the trenches start and it's just dug up. And that's kind of how I felt about the Great War, was like, wow, it really just kind of like raked this big claw mark into humanity. And that kind of reminded me of things that were going on in 2017, 2018. And I was like, what do you do when you know the world is changing and there's nothing you can do about it? And so I immediately moved the circus to 1926. The ringmaster is the main character. The job of a ringmaster in a circus is to be sort of like the MC, or be the MC, be the conduit between the audience and what is going on in the rings. And so she's the one in charge. Sometimes the ringmaster is in charge of the whole shebang backstage. Sometimes they're just more of like, well, this is our MC, and there's like a company man who is running it. And I thought that it would be really cool if this ringmaster was an older woman, because there was a lot of talk in 2018 about having middle-aged to older women as your main characters in fantasy, and I thought that was super cool. And I was, hitting 30, which is not old, but it's moving into a new time in your life, and I was like, I want somebody to look up to, I want somebody to grow into. And so yeah, Rin was not supposed to be the main character, but she ended up being, very much to her own chagrin. And Odette is her wife and one of the three owners of the circus. The other owner is Mauve. Odette is an aerialist, so she does trapeze and silks and pretty much anything that's off the ground. And yeah, they both have magical powers. Rin can jump through time and space, and Odette can heal herself and others. So she is threatened because there is another circus, and that particular ringmaster in that circus is somebody from her past who wants something from her. And this guy has a power as well that she believes is stronger than anything she can do. So he is coming after them, and that scares her. That's a really deep scar inside of her. And I think that even if they might be equally suited in power, psychologically, she's not ready to face him. I started with the structure of a circus, and I actually made like a set list. And I sort of went into my theater brain and my director brain to plan out rehearsals and what are the interludes and where are people backstage. What does Rin have to do in between the different acts? I also looked at what are the ups and the downs of a circus performance. I went to go see a couple of circuses, and studied some literature about circuses, nonfiction literature, talked to some circus folks, and tried to capture that feeling of spectacle and awe, but also one thing that draws us into an act of the circus is the sense of danger. And is somebody going to fall? Is somebody going to catch fire? And you're really hoping they're not. But there's tension, and you can't look away. And also the history of circuses, which I thought was a really good fit for a queer story, especially one in the Midwest. That circuses are historically filled with folks who are marginalized. They usually are treated as outsiders. During the temperance movement, circuses were not very popular with like clergy and politicians. And there's like the age old, I'm going to run away to the circus. And so also what is the power dynamic in a circus? Because you have marginalized folks being oppressed and what's the word I'm looking for, extorted in certain regards, such as like P.T. Barnum. And you also have like women ringmasters and people finding some kind of freedom or empowerment in acts. So it's definitely in conversation with the tradition of circus, which I found really, really interesting as a lens when putting together the book. So I definitely have a sequel outline. Um, we decided to make it a standalone because, excuse me, because Rin ended up being the main character. In the sequel, Joe would be the main character, and I don't know so the first book has gone through a lot of revisions, like it's clearly like done and it's published. The second book is still kind of in that gestation period and didn't get updated along with the first book. So I don't know how well it would work with how the first book is now. I also think that the way that the first book shook out, the ending just kind of has to sit there because that's kind of the point. I don't want to give it away, but that's kind of the point of the book, is living in the moment and not seeing what happens next. But I really do love the world of the Sparks and the character. So maybe there'll be fan fiction one day.